So let's talk about the Mary Kay menu and what your options are, and go through the Mary Kay career path. So just like we said, 50% of appointments that you hold are going to move. I don't like to say cancel or postpone. I just say they move. Sometimes they move away permanently. Sometimes they just move to next week, next month, or next year. So keep that in mind. Most importantly, you want to write this down. Mary Kay is not magical, it's mathematical. And if you learn the numbers of the business, then it removes the frustration. Mary Kay is not magical, it's mathematical. So you learn to make the numbers work for you, you'll find the results that you want. Okay? So your goal at every, number one, 50% of appointments move. And number two is that about probably 1 in 5 people that you share the business with will join your team. Sometimes it's 4, sometimes it's 6, sometimes it's 8, but on average, probably 1 in 5 that you share with will join your team. So what you want to think about is, and then at every skincare class, your goal is to book at least 2 more parties and 2 sharing appointments. So that's kind of what I consider your perfect class would be 2 bookings, 2 sharing appointments, and averaging about 200 in sales. Okay, 2 plus 2 plus 2. Okay, so book 2 parties, book 2 sharing appointments, and average about 200 in sales. So if you held, and I probably, especially as you're brand new, a lot of your sharing appointments you're going to do with me together. And so I'd say probably the numbers are closer to about 1 in 4 that you share the business with during your team, because guys were doing it together because of the experience that I've had. So between 1 in 4 or 1 in 5. So for numbers sake, it's simpler to make it 1 in 4. So if you do a party, you book 2 sharing appointments from that party. You hold 2 parties, then you book 4 sharing appointments. Right? Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So 2 parties equals 4 sharing appointments equals 1 team member. Mm-hmm. Okay? And that's the first step, is the Mary Kay consultant. This is where you are right now. The senior consultant is 1 or 2 active team members. So right next to the senior consultant, write 2 parties. Because basically you're 2 parties away from being a senior consultant. It's 2 parties, 2 sharing appointments from each one. It's 4. If you hold 4 sharing appointments, you're probably going to have 1 to recruit. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. As a senior consultant, you earn a 4% commission. So you see where it says that 4%. And that is paid by the company to you. Exactly. They mail you a pink check. It's pink. It's kind of fun. They'll send you a check. And so whatever those team members order from the company, if they order $1,000, then you get 4% of that. So you get $40. The great part is you're not responsible for teaching, training, educating. That's my job. So I'm responsible as the sales director for doing all the working with that new consultant. You're just there to encourage her. Say, hey girl, you can do it. I know you can do it. Come with me. Let's come with me to the meeting, or come with me to. She might come with you to one of your parties to observe and help you and things like that. So that's really your job, is to just encourage her. I as the director am responsible for doing all the teaching and training. That's nice. So does that make you feel better?
Yeah. Nice.
Okay, good. So the bottom line is, it doesn't matter if you know everything yet. You can still have team members, because you're not responsible for teaching yet. You guys learn together. It's actually more fun. Most consultants get first 2 or 3 team members within their first month, because then you get to learn together, and you can motivate and encourage one another and come to fun events and workshops and stuff together, so you can do it together. So 4% commission, she still makes 50%, you make 50%, all that's great. The next level is that star team builder. And that's where you get to wear the red jacket. You see the red jackets at the meetings. And that is when you have 3 active team members. Okay? So you can always kind of multiply the number of team members times 2 to get their number of parties. So to be a red jacket, it would take 6 parties, because from 6 parties, you're going to hold 12 sharing appointments and have an average of 3 new team members. Does that make sense? So kind of all about that party. The full circle party in Mary Kay is really, it is the means to every end. Whether that end is $100 a week, whether that end is a free car, whatever that end is for you, the skincare class gets you there. The Mary Kay party, working that full circle, which is what means booking future parties, booking sharing appointments, selling products, kind of doing all those things consistently. All of which you saw me do last night. because we booked parties, we sold prints and sets, and we booked sharing appointments. And those are always your goal under. Which we'll get to the party in a second. So this gives you, so as a star team builder, you still earn that 4% commission. You get to wear your family red jacket, and then you start getting $50 bonuses. So as you have each new qualified team member, you get an additional $50 bonus for each person too. So that adds a little bit extra commission to you. The next level after that is the team leader. It should be, it's 5 team members. There'll be how many parties? 10. Yep, exactly. 10 parties. You got it. See? So 10 parties to the team leader. Now here you get a pay raise, because now your commission goes up from 4% to either 9 or 13%. And that's based on how many people order during the month and how much you order. So 9 or 13%. So 4% to 13%, that's a triple your income there. That's a pretty significant raise. And you also still get those $50 bonuses. Also at the level of team leader is when you can go on target for your car. So that's when you can start qualification to earn a car. You have at least 5 active team members. That's exciting. And then earning the car is what's called the Grand Achiever. And that's what you see next on that sheet there. And that is where you have 14 active team members is where you're at the car. And then between you and those 4 people, there is some production as well that you do over that 4-month period. But basically, you grow your team from 5 to 14 within a few months, and you guys all have some sales, and your orders all total up, and that's when you're in the car, which is the white Chevy Cruze now. And so, Grand Achiever, 14 team members, basically 28 parties. And you're 28 parties away from a free car. You can do that in 4 months, you can do it in 12 months, you know, it doesn't matter, it's up to you, but that kind of gives you a rule of thumb to shoot for. And then kind of in between those levels is what's called future directors, or DIQ. And DIQ is when you have 10 active team members, and stands for director in qualification. And that's when you can begin the qualifications process to become a sales director. Okay? And so 10 active team members, so that's 20 parties, basically, to be a DIQ. And then when you begin the qualification to become a sales director, you grow your team from 10 to 24. And that's when you become a sales director. And the great part about when you're in DIQ, once you get to that 10 and then the 10 is the magic number. Because as soon as you have 10 team members, from that moment, once you're in DIQ, anyone that those 10 people recruit also counts towards your 24 to be a director. Exactly, once you're in DIQ. So the sooner you get to that 10 and begin DIQ, then anyone that you recruit, they recruit all the way down the line contributes to becoming a sales director.
Okay.
So it's really not that hard to do, to move into that sales director position. And as a sales director, the commissions go up significantly. A lot of those bonuses double. You add monthly bonuses, quarterly bonuses, annual bonuses, more cars. Because you do have more responsibility, and you have more responsibility of doing a lot of the teaching and the training, which you're trained to do, to how to train people. But it's probably about a triple your income increase to move from a consultant to a sales director. So definitely very easily able to support yourself and your family on that kind of income. And it's there. It's there for anyone. You may not see yourself as a sales director yet, but knowing that it's out there, that if you get to that place, you have the option, is nice to know. And this little kind of shows you like the different levels of the different pins that you get to earn as you move through those levels. And then to open it up, it kind of shows you the different steps and all the bonuses and the commissions that I just went over with you. So if you want to see what the car levels are and what the volume bonuses and percentage incomes and all those kind of things, this kind of lays it all out for you. And then of course, on the national sales director position, is you build other sales directors. So as a director, I build consultants, and then I help build those consultants, help them grow into the position of director. And then once I build so many directors, then I become a national sales director.
Yeah.
So it's starting to click.
Yeah.
And then here's your car options. As a consultant, the only car you can earn is the Chevy Cruze, which is the white one there at the bottom. And then as a director, you can move into those other levels of the other options, the Equinox, the Camry, and the Cadillac options as well. You have those choices. Any questions on that, on the career path?
Yeah. Do you ever have people that like are eligible for somebody like but don't want?
Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, there's people that just say, I mean, the only one that would really be a factor would be the sales director one. Yeah, it would be the director one. You know, they just say, you know what, I don't think that I want that responsibility. That's fine. I mean, the company doesn't penalize you. They don't say you have to. No, it's totally fine. And sometimes there's people that, I think one of the neat things about Mary Kay too, Rachel, is that sometimes people might move into that sales director position and then their life changes. You know, I mean, I had a director that married a guy from New Zealand, so she moved to New Zealand. So, of course, she couldn't be Mary Kay director there because it was in the U.S. So, you know, so she was able to step down and just kind of put her business aside. She lived there a couple years, but then when she came back, she was able to go back to building her Mary Kay business again if she wanted to. So sometimes there's life changes, there's things that happen. You can step back from it for a little while, but it doesn't mean the door's totally closed. You can always go back to it and pick it up too. So, and really what you'll find is that as you grow to the next level, then you become more prepared to move to the next level, and then you know more and you can move to the next level. So most of the time, you know, it's hard to be here and see, you know, just like a car, you turn the headlights on, you can see so far. If you just sit there, you can only see that so far. But as you start moving, then it illuminates a little further, and then illuminates a little further, you know, so they can see a little bit more. But like I said, it's here to lay out, here's all your options, and here's the menu. We can start with an appetizer first, and then we can move into a main course, and then we can move on to dessert, this kind of thing. So, but yes, then nothing is required. It's kind of the bottom line. It's completely your business. So you always still have control and options and choices to do whatever as little or as much as you want to. And that's the nice part about it is that if, you know, life changes, if, you know, some people find themselves a single mom all of a sudden. So now they have to go from a part-time income to supporting themselves fully with Mary Kay. You can do that. I mean, you can ramp it up very quickly if life happens. You know, someone loses their job or something like that. You know, so the ability is there for people to move quickly if they want to. You know, I've had people that, you know, I had a consultant that's been with me for probably 12 years. She started as a college student. She just played Mary Kay, ordered a couple times a year for herself. That was it. Didn't really do a lot with it. Then she had kids. I'm just like, okay, now I want to stay home and I don't want to go to work for someone else. And so she called me 10 years later and said, okay, I'm ready to work now. And now she's getting ready to become a sales director. And that's fine. And so she said, thank you because you loved me where I was. You never pushed me or forced me to want to do more with it. I was happy with it, but I knew that it was there when I could pick it up when I wanted to. And so, and that's fine. And that was great. So there's people that come and they want to move up quickly, and there's people that kind of want to take it a step at a time. And it's totally fine. It's completely your business. So I like you to know what all your options and choices are of what's available to you, and then you can work at your own pace. That make sense? Okay, make it easy. Good. So let's talk a little bit about your time management, and then we'll move into some money management and move into a skincare class. Time management, one of the things that I found very, very beneficial is that you have a little notebook, spiral notebook, that is your brain dump book, okay? And so like on Sunday night, I literally dump my brain out into this book. And then I can figure out, okay, what has to happen this week? What can happen next week? What do I have to do myself? What can I delegate to someone else to do? You know, because if it's just 1,000 things going around in your head, then it becomes exhausting. So if you're able just to put it on paper, it feels more manageable. One of the keys that Mary Kay taught us that she learned many years ago was the power of a 6 most important things list. And that's where each day you have a list of your 6 most important things that must happen that day. And some people do it in their date book, some people do it on their phone. I do it a lot of times with this little sheet, you know, so that I can like have one page that's everything, and then I can go and make a page for each day that week. Because I just kind of like to have a blank notebook that I can just free write in. Some people like it already planned out, and you'll actually in your weekly plan or in your your date book from Mary Kay, you'll see it has 6 most important things list. But if you have 6, you might have 66 that need to happen. But if you just narrow it down to 6, it gets done, and it feels more manageable. And then if you get those 6 done, then you can move on to something else as well. But you know, in those 6 most important things within your business, you want those to be mostly people time. You know, and it could be calling this hostess, taking, you know, meeting with a customer, holding this facial, going to the Mary Kay meeting. You know, it can be those kinds of things. You know, one of those things on the list can be listening to your Mary Kay CD, or doing one of those online classes, something like that, plugging into those kind of things. But putting some of those systems in place to help you makes a big difference. The other tool that's very beneficial is called a weekly plan sheet. And this is kind of at the beginning of the week. You plan out, take little markers, and these are color coded on here, so you can color code the sheets. But you mark out, okay, when am I at my job? You mark those out with a black marker. So job, time, hours. And then you plug in family time. When is your time with your family, your husband? When are your church commitments? You plug those in first, and then you fit Mary Kay into those. Okay, and so you set aside, so from now on, Tuesday nights are your Mary Kay night forever, and that's just always on your schedule, and you just kind of make that a priority from now on. That rewards you, and then okay, I'm going to do Mary Kay parties on Saturdays. Saturday's going to be my big work day, and maybe a Thursday night or something like that, so that when you're booking appointments with people, because when you're scheduling appointments, you want to say to them, I can do Thursday night or Saturday afternoon. What's better for you? Because people can't pick between 1,000 options. They can pick between an A and a B. And so one of the things when you're learning to book appointments, you always want to say A or B questions. Or anytime really you're doing anything, even in selling. See, even on that set sheet, is do you want this option or this option? This set or this set? 1 in 30 they can't decide. 1 and 2 they can't. And so when I'm booking an appointment, I usually will say, so what's better for you, during the week or on the weekend? Okay, and then if she says during the week, and I say, okay, I do my Mary Kay appointments during the week on Thursday nights. How's Thursday night for you? Okay, and now I might have every night of the week open.
Right.
Okay, but you want to have some control to be able to say, well, I can fit you in Monday or Thursday, which is better for you. And then she can pick between those two. You know what I'm saying? Or if she says the weekend, then I say, okay, do you prefer Saturday or Sunday? If you're not going to work Sundays, you can say Saturday morning or Sunday, or Saturday afternoon. And just let her pick, because it helps her make a decision and narrow it down, and it gets you to a decision. So, because the important thing in the Mary Kay business is, yes, it's your own business, yes, you're your own boss, but you want to make that schedule,
Right.
So that you're not gone 5 nights a week,
Yeah.
so that you have some control over that. And so it's kind of deciding ahead of time, what are those nights going to be?
Maybe after this first month.
After this first month, yeah, exactly. You can put that in place a little bit better. But that'll help you feel more control. And then also with your husband, it helps him see, okay, I know she's going to be home Wednesday nights and Friday nights. We're always going to have together. She's never going to have Mary Kay thing, except really if she has to be out of town or, something like that. But, I know those are our nights. And it helps them feel supported as well, so that you're not doing Mary Kay all the time, which you're not, but sometimes it can feel that way. So you all look at the schedule and figure out when are going to be our times that we are home together, when is our times that we're going to do grocery shopping, or whatever those things are. Pre-planning really helps, and it helps you fit things in. And then really taking advantage, of like your Tuesday night events. Bringing people with you on Tuesday nights, and make that a night that you do parties.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be there anyway. So it makes it a lot easier. So just, you can color code it if you want to, just put it in there. But just doing this at the beginning of each week is a wonderful, wonderful system for your life, not just your business. It's an example of one of those things that, like the 6 most important things list. Simple tasks that you'll learn that will benefit you beyond just your business. So the weekly plan sheet is really beneficial. It takes you probably 15 or 20 minutes, but it will help you have some order in your brain, in your life, and communication to your boss as well, which is really helpful. So with time management, those are probably the main thing. The biggest tools for time management are your weekly plan sheet, your 6 most important things list, and schedule on your weekly plan sheet phone time. Schedule when you're going to do some booking time, or making calls to customers, or making calls to hostesses and things like that, because if you don't schedule it, it doesn't happen. So putting that on the calendar, even putting in when you're going to do some of those online classes or whatever that's going to look like. Those could be those things you put. So let's talk a little bit about your money management, because I think this will be helpful, and then we'll get into the skincare class too. This sheet is very beneficial, because this is going to help you walk through, and I think I gave you some of these, but I'll give you another one. This
I
kind of
have
helps you. You might have some of
Yeah, I
these.
should have it.
Okay. I might have brought these over that night. This talks about kind of how to have inventory and make a profit at the end of the time as well.
Yep, okay.
You have that one? Okay. Look at you, so organized already. Yay. And then I have that one. Okay, that's fine. And these you can look over, but they just kind of walk you through. When you have products on hand, it allows you, yep, you do. Good job. Yay, she's so organized. And what I would do there, and just like you've already done in that notebook, kind of have that notebook and you make some dividers based on what makes sense to you. You know, here's one of what I'm booking, and here's one on selling ideas, and here's one on inventory management or money management. And so as you get, sometimes you put it through binders. Some people like to put it like in a hanging file, and you don't have to keep tons of paper copies because there's tons of stuff online. But sometimes you might want to be able to put your hands on something. So because you come to the meeting and we give handouts and things like that. So have a place that you put it that makes sense to you. That you can say, oh, where was that sheet about how to pay off debt? You know it's under your money management file, whether it's in a notebook or whatever that looks like. So from an organizational standpoint, that's really helpful to do, is putting those things in there. So we've already kind of gone over those, the debt free. This is the sheet that I will go over with you, because now you have your sales tickets to fill this in. So this is something that you want to make some copies of. It's called Mary Kay Money Management. And this is kind of how you're going to keep track of your expenses in Mary Kay and your money. Okay, so, you know, you're going to total up your sales tickets for the week. And I would put the very bottom line total, okay, in this little box here. So like the with tax. With tax. Put that there. Okay. Then you're going to separate out the sales tax amount. Okay, so you're going to put the sales. Actually, since sales tax is here, scratch that. I would put the total without tax here because it'll be easier for you to figure these other numbers from.
Okay.
So weekly sales total, subtotal, okay, without tax. Then you're going to put the sales tax total right here. Okay, so how much in sales tax you collected? Because sales tax pretty much just is a revolving door. You know, as you're collecting it, you're going to send it back into Mary Kay because it's going to pay the sales tax on the replacement product that you're going to order. Okay, so you kind of want to just keep sales tax by itself because it just always pays for itself. Does that make sense? So you're always, always, always going to reorder 50% of everything that you sell. So if you sell $500, you're going to order 250. Okay. Now, here's the exception to this is if you want to look at that weekly sales total, you would divide it in half. Okay, so if it says $300, then you would write 150 here.
Okay.
Okay. If you had something that you gave someone for half price, you want to put that total amount here in that. So you're going to look at, so you're going to still write that total. I sold 300, put that number here. Half of it is 150. But then look at your sales tickets, and if you have something it was $50 and you gave it to them for 25. Well, you've only put $12.50 in here because you did half of the 25. So you want to add that other extra amount. So you have that full 50% amount to reorder that product. Does that make sense? And it's on your sales tickets, and that's why you fill out your sales tickets like that. But then you can do this, you know, with your sales tickets that you have there, with your numbers that we have. So you can have your sales tax, your investment. So that's your amount that you're going to wholesale order. Okay, which we'll do this with your tickets in a minute. Your business expenses is about 5%, and that's where you're going to put things like, and this says marketing and advertising of PCP. You know, I probably just combine those together to be a 10%. But basically, about 10% is going to cover your expenses: sales tickets, order forms, samples. You know, some of your $5 meeting dues, things like that. So you kind of run that, and about 10% of your total sales is going to cover your expenses. Okay, and then your profit, net profit, is your 40%. Okay, and then from that 40% is where you'll pay your monthly payment on your loan or for your inventory, and then anything else that you want to pay. Okay, so your dream account money will come from there. So you take that 40% and you divide it up however you want to. Okay, so you're going to deposit like this, $684.20 in your Mary Kay account. But then this has it kind of separated out so you know actually designate how much money goes where. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
And you'll get the hang of it, and your husband's good at numbers will help you too. And you can put this in an Excel spreadsheet or whatever. This just kind of helps you divide it out. So you're not looking at your Mary Kay checkbook and thinking, okay, I have $683. I really only have 200 or whatever because I need to have that money to reorder the product. And then I need to have that money, that sales tax that you're going to use towards your order because that's going to pay the sales tax on your order and things like that. Your shipping expense will come from this 10% as well. Okay, so it kind of divides it out for you so that you're always knowing what that looks like. That makes it really easy. So that's your money management. Basically, it's primarily just that 60-40 split of 60% goes back into your business, 40% is your profit. You pay your monthly payment from that, and then pay yourself from that as well. So literally, you can write yourself a paycheck from your Mary Kay checking account into your personal account. Okay, so let's say you sell $1,000, 400 is 40% is your profit. So if you want to pay 200 on your loan payment for your inventory, and then the other 200, you write yourself a check, you deposit it in your personal account, and you can pay your other bills with that.
Mhm.
You're going to write yourself that paycheck, but that kind of leaves you that paper trail of the check so that you can keep track of that and separate that.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay. The money can sometimes be complicated. but
Yeah,
you got
yeah,
it.
yeah.
It's really, once you get that,
Work with it.
you know the numbers a little bit, then it makes it a little bit easier. And this is another good sheet. I'm just on money management, how to keep track of things for your taxes and stuff like that too. That walks you through those things. Um, keeping track of all that information on your taxes. One of the big things off of here that you want to note is that you do want to keep track of your mileage. So you do want to somewhere write down your car mileage estimated for the day that you start your Mary Kay business. Because then by the end of the year, you'll want to know what that ending mileage is.
So
Okay?
the chances of that listening?
Yeah. Well, no, because you came to meetings before that. The day you
Okay.
ordered your starter kit.
Okay.
So the day you order your starter kit is the first day. Absolutely, because you've done stuff. You went to the post office. You went to the store and bought things. Things like that. So yeah, so you would just estimate, backwards what you think your mileage was on that day. So write that down because you want to have that come for your taxes next year. And then in your Mary Kay date book or in your calendar, you want to kind of track your mileage. There's even apps, for your phone that can help you do it for free. That's really pretty cool the way it does it as well. So you can look into some of those. But you don't have to have a mileage log where you log in, 6 miles, blah, blah, blah. If you have your date book and you write down in your date book that you went to the bank, that you went to the post office, that you went to your Mary Kay meeting, that you went and held a party, like write those little things even down in your date book. And then you can estimate, that was probably 16 miles, it was about 12. The trips that you make, like the meeting every week, that it's 8 miles, every week or whatever for the meeting. And so you write those things down in there. So because that you do want to kind of keep a total of coming in the year. And like I said, there's some apps out there that make it really easy to kind of do it for you too. So you can look in, it's called like MileBug or something, I think is one of them. You can look into an app. So yeah, add to your homework list, write down your mileage. Put the mileage on your car, or your homework list, and then, writing in your date book, start keeping track of when you go where, and write down a mileage estimate. Because the mileage is a big tax deduction at the end of the year. The other thing when it comes to your, as far as like your filing and your organizing of your receipts, what I would do is on I don't think I have a copy of it here, but on my website is the sheet that we use for our tax benefits that our tax guy did that kind of walks through, here it is.
Oh, I have it for
You have that, okay, yeah. So it has all those different categories on there, vehicle expenses or the office expenses, office supplies, things like that. Basically, you're going to get a receipt every time you go and buy cotton balls or buy stamps or whatever, get a receipt and just have a place that you put it, you know, and then as it gets closer to taxes, you can total that stuff up and things like that, or you can keep a running total throughout the month. You can make an Excel spreadsheet of it. You can do it however you want to, but just basically the bottom line is keep your receipts, okay? So keep your receipts for any of that stuff, you know, dry cleaning or whatever. So you can kind of make like file folders according to these categories. You don't necessarily need one for every category. You know, one for gas and one for oil changes and one for, you know, like this car or whatever. So, but those kind of things would just keep like your order forms from Mary Kay when you get an order, the packing list. You want to keep those stapled together. You know, the order that comes as a whole because there's ones in each box. You know, so kind of staple those order together and keep those in a file. So as you'll need the section 2 amount off of there, the sales tax amount, the shipping. So just kind of keep those in file, your orders to Mary Kay. Same thing, excuse me, you'll have a file that's your income folder. No envelope that you call the pink copy. To the pink copy, so that keeps track of your sales for the year. And I kind of paper clip with my month, so I can go back and look at the months of those. So, you know, it's just kind of putting filing system, whether it's middle envelopes, whether it's hanging files, you know, whether it's typing it in the computer and then tossing it, you know, whatever that is for you, it doesn't matter. If your husband's great at that, then have him help you, you know, detail and organizing those kind of things. So you just have to kind of find that system that works for you. And then just so that you keep track of those things. Okay, so from your like your receipts and your filing system and stuff like that. But you do want to like save, you know, all your household bills now, you know, save a copy of your electric bill and your water bill and your cable bill and especially your phone bill and those kind of things because those are going to come into play when you're doing your taxes as well. So just have a folder of household expenses and all that stuff and have one for travel, you know, when you travel, things like that. And keep those receipts and stuff too. So put all those together in there. As far as when it comes to your products, what I suggest doing is either using there's a paper order form that comes in your Applause magazine that like has all the, let me grab it. One of these. It might be a different color. What is this one? No, this is the December through March. You're coming your sales ticket, and your starter kit,
Okay.
probably, or inside your Applause magazine, the monthly magazine that you get from Mary Kay. There's usually one of these in there. But this is basically the entire order form. Okay, so it's like the whole order form with all the Section 1 products, all the Section 2 products. You can print one, I think, from Mary Kay and Touch too. I think you can print it out. But when you use product for yourself or use it as a demo, then this is an easy way to keep track of it is just go find it and just put like a little hash mark next to it. Okay? And then you just have this that keeps track of all the product that you didn't sell but that you pulled off your shelf.
So instead of keeping all those.
Exactly. But see, the box tops you can just keep until you record
do
it. Exactly. And then toss it. You know, so yeah, you can tear the box top off and then, you know, I just kind of tear the box top and put it in an envelope and then when I get around to it, I record it on here, you know, but I'm going to record it. Some people like post this where their inventory is and they just put little hash marks on there. I like doing, I mean, you can do it on a sales ticket, but you fill up a sales ticket pretty quickly. Whereas this, you kind of are good for the whole year. Now, there's a different one of these that comes out every 3 months when we have new product, and you'll automatically get one in your Applause magazine from Mary Kay. So you can just pull that out and keep track of it on here. Because really, anything that you pull off for demo, of course, is a tax write-off, okay? Anything, supposedly, any product, you're only allowed to write off product yourself that you visibly see. Mascara, eyeshadow, lipstick, you know, only things that are visibly seen can be written off. However, if you open up a cleanser and you go use it as a party one time, and then it becomes your personal cleanser, well, it's a demo. Okay? Because you used it as a demo one time. So, I just put every product that I use, because I'm sure I might or might not have demoed it, but they can't prove that anything that I didn't do that. I put everything as tax write-off of all the products you use, or give away, or whatever, because they really have no record of ever tracking down whether you used it party or not, but you want to be sure that you can go use it at a party one time, and then it can go in your bathroom because it's a demo, and now it's yours. Okay, but a lot of like the full size lip glosses and the full size lipsticks, you know, a lot of those kind of things, they might be yours and they're your demo. Okay, so you can open each lip gloss and you can just put it on your finger anytime you use it, and it stays in your skincare class bag, and you can use it at your party, and they put it on their finger and use it. So, you know, a lot of those products, like the lotions or maybe the perfumes and like that, as you're building your inventory, it might do double duty of a demo and your personal one. Does that make sense? You know, on some of those things. But anyway, this is just an easy way to keep track of how many you used of those, and then you can just total it up at the end of the year. All the products you use, that number goes under advertising. Okay, the wholesale amount, of course, of the product. So if you use, you know, $1,000 retail and $500 wholesale, your cost goes onto there. The other thing that you want to make sure that you keep track of, though, is that when you pull products off of your shelf, whether it's for you or for your demo, you do want to kind of use some of your profits to order that product back. So you do want to kind of have an idea of, if we just open, you know, $200 worth of product off of your inventory, well, you don't have money for that to replace it, but you do want to replace those products. So you might pull some of your profit money and kind of put it onto that reinvestment column to replace the products. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So that you replace it back on yourself. So you kind of buy it from yourself, buy it from your store, and that keeps it easier from a money standpoint, and you're actually reordering everything that went off of your shelf. Okay. So for keeping track of the products, use an order form, use a sales ticket, whichever way, but you're kind of keeping track of it that way, which makes it really easy. The sooner that you have that profit level of the 3,600 wholesale in stock, the better, because then it allows you to only need to replace what you've ordered. You know, anything less than that 3,600, which it talks about on here, then you're missing, you don't have quite enough of everything, you're missing some things that you're going to want to kind of spend more money to, more of your profits to reinvest to get to that level. So the sooner you can build to that profit level, the better you're able to see that profit. But this walks you through that. And you know the difference between wholesale and retail. Also, what you buy it for, retail's what you sell it for. That makes sense. Okay. Any other questions on the money side?
So when you're reordering product, it's always coming out of
What you
you're
sold.
selling.
Yes.
So you're never reusing that credit card.
Right. Exactly.
So what do you do
Exactly.
when you pay it off?
And then you usually just use it for your business expenses or something if you want to. Yeah. Now sometimes people will say, okay, I started with, you know, this smaller inventory package, and I do it for a month or two, and I'm like, you know, I really would like to have that 3,600 wholesale. So they'll do maybe a second larger order to bump up their inventory. And so that's probably the only time that you would use that. But yeah, most pretty much you're gonna treat that like as a loan. You know, you divide it up into 12
Right.
payments of $200 or whatever, and then it's gonna be totally paid off. And you're not really gonna use that credit card. You are really gonna run your business off a debit card. Is the majority of what you're gonna do. Now some people like to use the card, the Mary Kay card, because they get rewards. So even though you have $600 in your Mary Kay checking, you have to place an order, they might do the 600 on that Mary Kay credit card so they get the points, and then immediately take that 600 and make the payment on the credit card. So you just have to be very disciplined with doing that,
Yeah.
so that you're not spending money both places, you know. But some people like to do that because definitely the rewards add up at the end of the year, and you can get cashback bonuses. So you can very easily, you know, place the $600 order on your credit card and then immediately log in online and make a payment from your Mary Kay account to the credit card and just kind of pay it right off, basically. So you can do that. But yes, the answer is you're pretty much not going to reuse that, you know, unless you chose to bump up your inventory to another level. You're just going to order from here on out with your credit card. Okay, good.
Sure, I'll think of something.
Is it starting to make sense? Or your
Yeah.
brain exploding?
I'm more exploding about trying to get organized. That's my thing. Like, I stress out if I'm not organized.
Well, is it helpful to know how to get organized now,
Yeah.
so that you're like, okay, now I know what to put where, and then I can feel like I can get organized a little bit. This is a good sheet. This shows you just so you can dream a little bit about the future. step a minute. It compares the commission check of a consultant versus a sales director for the same amount of work. So like
Oh.
if you put together all the commissions and percentages and bonuses and blah 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 blah, your check as a consultant would be $980, which is great. That's a nice commission check. It'd be really fun. But for the exact same activity, your check as a director is $3,242.
It's just having more people in the unit.
Right. So it's the same amount of sales, the same amount of new recruits, exactly the same. It's just being paid at that different level. And it just kind of shows you the huge difference in income between a consultant and a director. But it's good to dream a little bit. All right, I'm going to pause and move into the skincare class.